your
Oh,
mouth on it.
but do you have any questions for the judge? Because his time is limited. We don't want to go over things
Well,
we
well,
went
Well,
well
over.
I want
Do you have any
to.
questions?
Okay, I
I
just want him to. It's not really a question. It's
I
my
endorse
plans.
what you say. I'm endorsing what you
There
say.
you go. That's what I need you to do. So
Now,
the
let me
next
say
thing we
this.
need,
Let me
Judge.
say
The
this.
next thing, Judge. The next thing we need.
Go ahead.
Hold on, Sister Sean. We got a lot of people with their hands up. Go ahead, Nordas.
Oh, you know what? I'll answer my question when I had my hand up earlier. But hey, Judge Joe, it's Connie Collins. We've been exchanging calls. I'm the
Yes.
one that interviewed you on BTP. So anyway, thank you. I appreciate you, and just thank you for breaking everything down. I'm a lawyer as well, so thank you.
Well, counselor, have at it. Now, again, you see what you're into is Ford is going to concentrate its manufacture of electric vehicles here. That means they're going to try to spread a trend based on consciousness of global warming and the desire to have green vehicles, responsible vehicles that don't use fossil fuel. That means that they're also going to be making a lot of vehicles that are going to be in the export market that might be trying to compete in China, in Asia, in Europe with some comparable vehicles. There are likely to be billions of dollars worth of revenue going through or associated with this factory. They do not want these people in this municipality to have anything to do with the conditions in which Ford finds itself. I would be willing to guarantee you that the people who negotiated moving forward there and importing all of these thousands of employees has pretty much guaranteed them that they will not have to be dealing with a select number of black folk who might try to get some decent return coming back to the people who live there. See, we have to start setting up meccas, so to speak, where the population dynamics are changing. In 20, 25 years, which will be when this plant just starts really rolling, there will be no longer an ethnic majority in the United States. Everybody will be a minority. And preparatory to that, they certainly don't want to give black folk the opportunity to have some municipal area that is not flat broke busted, depending upon a broken down local property tax system with an exorbitant sales tax situation. Think of it, a plant with 27,000 some odd employees is going to pay an enormous amount of property tax. In any jurisdiction that gets advantage of what is probably going to be the largest property tax base in the whole state of Tennessee outside of Beretta, which moved in up there near Kentucky, that's going to be an enormous windfall to somebody, and they certainly don't want black folk exercising that power. But you see, if you maintain that power, that tax base, there is an enormous amount of influence, authority, and potential for development of one area for black folk to get to. See, you have displaced a lot of black folk in Memphis, Shelby County, Tennessee, with this gentrification and lack of urban planning. They have to go somewhere. And a lot of them would be very anxious to move there. So if you get the money, the tax base from the property tax, and from the feedback that you get, the share that you get from the state from corporate income tax, You have an enormous amount of power. Just think about that. So start getting on the stick and recruit your constituents to go write letters, to send texts, to send emails. Look it up on Google, disseminate that information of who to send these things to, provide them with lists of their legislative representatives, send stuff to the National Republican Party, send stuff to the DNC, Democratic National Committee, RNC, Republican National Committee. You've got interests that would be very involved in this. And you've got national interest too, because it's resonating.
Thank you for that, Judge Joe
Thank
Brown.
you.
We also have Marcel Dixon, who's here. He's running for Congress in Jim Clyburn's district. He's running directly against him, and we've been supporting him. He's a reparations candidate, and he had some questions for you.
By the way, turn that handkerchief head colored boy out of office. He's a surrogate for the LGBTQ cult. Now, I don't have anything against gay folk getting their freak on in the bedroom, but LGBTQ is a cult. And just like all Christians are not supporters of Branch Davidian, nor were they supporters of Jim Jones and his Kool-Aid, all gays are not staunch supporters of LGBTQ, and a lot of them object to LGBTQ because of its policies of destruction of the family. So turn your opponent's behind out. He has been in that office too long. Look up his voting record and be sure to bring that to your would-be constituents' interest and attention, because he hasn't done a damn thing for black folks since he's been in there.
You're absolutely right, Judge. You're absolutely right. And I've been doing just that. And I don't want to take too much of your time, because I heard you say you're on limited time. So I just have a question, and this may have been brought up already because I've just got into the room. But I was mentioning yesterday, if this anti-black takeover that's happening in Mason, a town they didn't care anything about until it's now going to be the site of the largest investment in Tennessee's history, I was saying, I don't know what this is even called. That's just how unlettered I am when it comes to law. But I'm sure there are other counties, and people have said they researched, and there are, who have had issues too with their finances. And I know this current administration didn't cause this issue in Mason. It was caused by a past administration. But if they are already throwing the book at this county, but they're not doing it with other counties that might be majority white, could that not there be something that can be used to challenge this process, slow it down, and then defeat it?
Yes. You see, what's happening is black people are moving to certain urban areas, and they're beginning to get the numbers to dominate the politics in those areas. These urban areas are located at geographic centers that are not going to move except by the slow process of tens and hundreds of millions of years by continental drift. So they will retain their importance because of their physical location. When we start becoming the predominant population in these areas, we have a great deal of potential political power. And as the demographics in the country shift over the next 2.5 decades, that's going to be a very important thing. And we need to take these opportunities and seize them, and don't let them get snatched away. One of the things that is most popular, I haven't seen it in almost 45 years, the way it used to be, is to metropolitanize an area. Where, look at Nashville. They had Nashville, and then they went to metropolitan Davidson County because initially they wanted to diffuse the black political clout that was delivered by black bloc voting up in Nashville when it was a city jurisdiction. So they diffused it, so what was in Nashville would not be under the control of the black folk who made up the predominant population in the area. See, that's been come and gone and done for 40 to 50 years in the past. And we are beginning to see other areas like this because factories are trying to find cheap labor, cheap rentals, and cheap land in places that are not suffering from smog. So here we go.
Thank you, Judge. I think
Hey,
we
real
had a
quick,
question.
Black, let me ask. I just wanted to ask you, Judge. First off, I appreciate everything you do. I love how you be calling out the crackheads. That's classic for all of us growing up. But I just wanted to ask, would you happen to know any lawyers that are bold enough to take this case on?
I know one, but unfortunately, she is doing something more in the judicial line. I know several, but they're all judges. And I'm 75 years old, and I haven't practiced law for more than 30 years, and I've been retired from the state bench for 20 something. And I haven't done this arbitration out of Hollywood that I did for 15 years and going on a decade. So I'm kind of out of touch with this, but I have been looking for a lawyer myself. I'm in an area that is very affluent. Candidly, it is not predominantly black. But we were trying to get some injunctions done, and we had a very hard time trying to find lawyers. So finally, somebody said, Judge, do you know any black lawyers that be willing to take this here case? You know, and what we had come up with was we were going to say that probably it's going to cost about $1.5 million that we would be willing to pay and had available to pay some attorneys. But we weren't going to tell them how much. So some people who were getting a scant amount of money from their practice and trying to struggle to keep their doors open could have made a killing off of it, but they were too scared to just take on Germantown. You know, for goodness sakes, what the hell is the problem here? And we found out, for example, that the Germantown city alderman who voted for the zoning variance that we found offensive had each had $18,000 donated to their campaign funds by the developers. You see how that goes? That's corruption. Now, I've been looking for some black lawyers. And quite frankly, you might have to go out of state and get some to come in and associate with somebody else. I don't want to publish it out loud, but there are some I would suggest that someone contact because there might be an advantage and they might still be willing to take such cases.
Okay, Judge Joe Brown, thank you. We're going to follow you, and hopefully you can follow us back so you can maybe back channel it, that information to us.
Sure.
I appreciate that.
You have people, several I'm seeing on here, who have my number and text me on a regular basis. So I guess I'll channel it through them. I'm thinking of several lawyers right now. The other thing, too, is you need a lawyer who wants to play David and find a Goliath to slay. That lawyer may be black, but skin ain't kin, and that lawyer may be white, may be Hispanic, may be Hindu, may be something else. I would suggest that you involve a team of lawyers led by or headed by somebody who's black, because that's what you're dealing with and you want that face. Don't necessarily deal with the person who's most expensive because they aren't necessarily the best lawyer to get. Also, make inquiry as to whether or not this lawyer has tried a lot of cases. That makes a difference. A lot of lawyers that are nationally noted these days for settling these civil rights matters are just that. They're effectively ambulance chasers because they've never been in front of a jury and they have not gotten refined in their understanding or approach to law. And if you have somebody who's done nothing but settle cases, then they aren't going to get very good offers because nobody gives a damn, because they'll just tell them behind closed doors during negotiations, you don't like it, go to trial. And you will be embarrassed and people will see you don't really know what the hell you're doing. So you want lawyers who either have demonstrated a long history of trial work, or somebody that's had some trials and impresses you as a go-getter, and somebody that's really hungry and does not give a damn, they'll take on anybody.
Thank you, Judge. We had a question from Yahya. We endear her with the name Queen Khalifa. Go ahead, Queen Khalifa.
Yeah, I really wanted to tie in because I think one of the major moves that I believe I heard was that the Republican constituents needs to know that a large population base of theirs is being displaced and being moved out of the area, and that may help leverage some help from that side also.
Well, that isn't what I said. What I said is on the national level, the Republican Party is trying to appeal to black folk. This last election with Trump, they got a very high percentage of black men who voted Republican. They want to expand that, and they would be very displeased if there's some local yokels who are trying to disrupt what they're trying to achieve. So you might get some traction by going to their national committee, the RNC, and advising them of what's going on down here. You can also go to the DNC and say, look, you have gotten our support all these years, come through and do something. Get involved, lean on the Shelby County Democratic representatives and senators that are up in Nashville and get them to do something about it. See, that's how you deal with. Put it in writing. Send text and emails. Draft one and get a whole lot of people to send the same thing up there. They pay attention to that. Find out, well, I think you have the 8th congressional district would be the one that you guys are in. I may be mistaken, but that corridor extends from East Memphis all the way up to Jackson, Tennessee.
Thank you,
Yeah, it is.
Judge Joe Brown. Go ahead, Afro Elite.
I was just about to say I was looking it up as he was talking. It is the 8th district, and I found the name of the representative, whose name is David Kustoff, a Republican representative. Interesting fact: they said he was a part of the 2021 inauguration invasion thing. So I think that's interesting. But I was about to make a post about him, and I wanted to get the judge's opinion about, like, if I was to call him.
I know him.
Okay.
He is vulnerable to an appeal.
Okay.
Let me say this. What happened January 6th? The Constitution of the United States of America has been amended. The First Amendment says that the citizenry has an absolute right to assemble and petition the government for redress of grievance. And that petition does not have to be in writing. For 240 years, it's been interpreted as having an assembly, a protest, a demonstration. And I have a political science degree from UCLA, amongst other things. And I've maintained my student status with continuing to further my political science education. And my research suggests that historically, the number 3 most popular topic for political debate is fairness of elections. Now, before that demonstration of about 180 people occurred on January 6th, the assembly, the House of Representatives, was 5 minutes away from considering the application of the 1877 Confidence in Voting Act. What that was is there's a piece of legislation that's still good that says when things are such that the public has lost confidence in an election as indicated by certain things, then a 15-member committee shall be appointed with the consent of the Senate and under the direction of the House. Here's how it goes: 5 from the House of Representatives, 5 from the Senate, and 5 from the U.S. Supreme Court. The way it would work out is, at the time, the House of Representatives was Democratic, so 3 of the 5 representatives from the House would have been Democrats and 2 Republicans. The Senate was majority Republican, so it would have worked out that you would have had 3 Republican senators, 2 Democratic senators. You would have had on the other 5 from the U.S. Supreme Court, you would have had the Chief Justice as 1, and the other 2, there would be 2 from each political party. So that would have been 5 people. They would have had to have taken a minimum of 10 days to do an independent audit of the election results, or longer as necessary, before the Electoral College voted on the matter. And that is law. It was passed in 1877, and it is popularly known as the Confidence in Election Act, because in 1877 they had a big thing about lack of public confidence and many accusations of election fraud. So we have a thing going on right now that's bad. Now, we don't get this, but if you look at or read the European coverage of what's happening in the Ukraine, Russia is saying that they're trying to save the world from Nazification, as witnessed by the intense propaganda and censorship campaign that's being conducted in the United States through mainstream and social media to restrict commentary under America's Constitution. And if they would restrict their own, what are they about to use for the rest of the world? So they're claiming that they're protecting the world from American Nazification, like America used to claim it was protecting the world from the commies. So there is that. And if anybody, and I think looking at some of the people on here, a lot of us are experienced with Twitter censorship. And some I recognize from Facebook and Instagram and YouTube who have had to open up new accounts because they got closed down for having candid commentary that to a great extent valid. So we've got a big problem.
Yeah, absolutely. I was about to.
Hold on, brother Afro Elite. I'm not sure if it was on you. You know, we had some hands up. I want to.
It was on Immortal and then Coops. Go ahead, Immortal.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I want to thank the Honorable Judge Joe Brown again for coming and giving us his insights and wisdoms into the situation that we're looking at here. And I want to remind the room that we had an initiative that we began out with, and what we're looking for is more things to do. We're not trying to stop what we're doing. We're trying to find more things to do. So if you hear something that the Honorable Judge Joe Brown has said that you feel like should be done, I encourage you and I will help you to do that thing. But what you should not do is use this as an opportunity to try to thwart what we are doing, because we're not going to do anything to interfere with something that's constructive to help this town We're not going to interfere with anything that's constructive to help this town. And we're charging in head first because we're tired, and we're going to flex a little muscle, and we're going to do it the way we want to do it. But what we're going to do is also get good counsel from a national treasure, 75 years of experience, 75 years of understanding. And we're going to use that knowledge also. So let's take what our good brother is telling us, our good elder master teacher is telling us, and use it appropriately. And
Yes.
thank you so much.
Thank you. Just reiterating this, raise the money, raise all you can, but don't use it to pay off the debts. Get yourself legal counsel first, adequate legal counsel. And if you have adequate legal counsel, of course, you should rely on that lawyer's or those lawyers' advisement. All right. Don't get stuck in paying off this debt, because that's not going to save the charter. The charter will be taken because of the billions of dollars that are involved in this thing, and it will be generated over the decades. Remember, this is going to be the center of Ford Motor Company trying to get a worldwide market in electric vehicles and getting a jump on everybody else. They've already worked up a deal with the Chinese, of the People's Republic of China, to use some of their electronic and battery technology under license. So there is a massive trade situation here. These cars are going to be brought down to Memphis and put on barges and taken down to New Orleans, where they will be loaded on ocean-going barge transports and taken over to the Mediterranean, and or run through the Suez Canal to get over into Asia. So you have to understand there is a massive trade thing going on, and this is an opportunity for a black municipality to get in on top of it and get some finance, for God's sake, so ain't nobody broke.
Now, Mr. Judge Joe Brown, just to be clear, the mayor said if he paid that off before the hostile takeover, that would stop it.
Bullshit. Complete unadulterated bullshit. He's getting tricked. Now, with great respect, he's entitled to his opinion. He represents the municipality he was elected. I'm not giving you a legal opinion. This is my political opinion. My law license is in a medical disability status because I had some problems with type 2 diabetes, and I did not want to deal with that at the time. And I'm 75 and I'm retired, and I do other stuff, and fools complain about me all the time because I step on some people's feet in other states. So I don't have to answer all of that. I'm just an ordinary citizen. But in my opinion, you need to take the money and retain counsel before you find yourself in a mess where you paid it out and they still revoke the charter. See, the comptroller's trying to revoke it, and somebody needs to look into his financial disclosure that he has to file and see where the money's coming from. I'm sure you will find that he has received some or a promise of some, and you need to find out who he's been meeting with. Now, probably he will have tweeted, or he may have posted somewhere on social media what he thinks he's about for benefit of the people that he thinks support him. Do some background research.
Thank you, Judge. I appreciate everything you're sharing with us and advising us on, and we're very, very appreciative, Judge. Thank you so much. We got a few more questions. We got Coops T. Go ahead, Coops. She's from West Coast.
Thank you. Peace and black power to the room. Judge, thank you, and the host. Real quick question. This small town, which is my belief in Tipton County, is in Tipton, less than 2,000 people, where they have an annual income of about $17,000 per year, or around $8 per hour on average. My understanding is if a minimal payment towards the debt is at least made, or if it's not made, this mayor, who also works a full-time 40-hour-a-week job and apparently only is mayor part-time because he has a family to support, he cannot even pay the salary of the city workers and whatnot, unless he makes a minimal $22,000 payment. So I understand what you're saying about council, and I agree with that. Would it make sense to get the minimum required payment made if, if we, get this amount, pay that so that at least this mayor can at least pay the garbage pickup people and the school teachers and what
Okay.
have you?
Okay, here's how you work that. This is the political situation. The money got stolen or embezzled from the municipality by some crooks who were holding office up until about 4 or 5 years ago. All right? So what you have to do is take steps to recoup that. In other words, complain to TBI, demand an investigation. You need some attorneys to go after the people who are responsible so you can sue them for the damages and get the return of the money. It's not up to the township to pay back a theft. I will guarantee you, if politics is consistent in this county with the rest of Tennessee, you will find that the people who occupied the offices for years were taking big slices off the top, putting it in their pockets or distributing it to their friends. And that's where the money went, which is why it hasn't been spent on what it was supposed to be spent on. So you're going to deprive people, think of it, you're going to deprive somebody of his or her rights because they are victims of theft and embezzlement and extortion and political chicanery. This is absolutely ridiculous. The citizens are entitled to the provision of necessary services. And in fact, under Tennessee law, what happens is if the local municipality can't afford them, then the state has to step in or the county has to step in and provide them. If the police department got disabled, the county sheriff would have to assume the law enforcement obligation for the citizens that live there. And the other thing is this is not an impoverished township. There is a very affluent suburb that is developing. That suburb is predominantly white. There are also some well-off black suburbanites that have been attracted to the area. So the question becomes, do you have this political unit that operates under the aegis of black voters, or do you have a surrender or a confiscation of the charter and turn this black area over to a predominantly white larger area to run? And then you want to investigate where the money is going to and what kind of deals people on the county level have made. Because you see 9 times out of 10, this being Tennessee, you may find that all it is a larger unit engaging in the same kind of extortion, bribery, and embezzlement that went on to put that municipality in the trick bag it's in right now.
So it sounds like the mayor needs to make his payroll, the comptroller be damned. Just go ahead and pay your bills and then I guess fight them.
And go to court and get an injunction from a chancery court in Tennessee against the comptroller.
Got it, Judge. Thank you very much for that. I think we're going to swing it to Afro Elite next and then to Twizzle.
Yeah, just real quick. I looked up the the district representative named David Dustoff, and I was wondering,
David Kustoff. He lives in Memphis. He's a lawyer here in Memphis.
Okay. I remember you saying that we should be calling out the representatives. So I was about to.
Everybody. Yeah.
Okay. So what exactly should our post say? That I was about to put it on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. So what should we be calling them out for specifically? What specifically should we be saying in the post?
I'm not going to tell you what to say, but I would suggest that you have these elements in it. One, you say, this is a group of minority constituents. Two, there is a definite need in the country to restore relations amongst all of the ethnic groups. Three, it would behoove the Republican Party to do something to show a sensitivity to the black voter that they could recruit. Additionally, there are other problems that need to be investigated, such as criminality that has gone on in the past, and we have the inequitable situation of citizens being deprived of services because crooks over the years that they finally managed to turn out not long ago had done what they had done to the city or the township. Now, put these elements in. The appearance of impropriety. It looks bad. It smells to high heavens.
Okay, thank you. I'm working on it now.
Okay.
All right. We're gonna swing it to Nuarda, Twizzle first, and then Nuardas, and then Conscious.
Good evening, everybody. How you doing? Good evening, Judge. It's a privilege and an honor to talk to you.
Yes,
I just
sir.
want to say thank you for what you did to Mark Lamont Hill, how you took him to the woodshed. I like how you told the truth on there. And two, I fully support what you said, where you stand right now with this, because I know how those good old boys work, and you are 100% right. Just as soon as you pay the $600 off, they're going to come with something else. Then they're going to come with something else. And I feel like we should get adequate legal representation so we can tie it off into the courts so we can have time to really build up a war chest to fight it off. And my question to you is, do you think this is going to bleed over into your campaign on running for mayor of Memphis?
I hope it does, because the situation there is developing here in Memphis. Now, here's the big thing. You know what your strongest suit is? Ford Motor Company. You do not want Ford Motor Company to be labeled as complicit in a racist scam. You write to Ford's corporate headquarters and you say, I'm from California, I'm from New York, I'm from New Jersey, I'm from Philly, I'm from Green Bay, I'm from Minneapolis, St. Paul, I'm from Atlanta, and I am never going to buy another Ford product the rest of my life. I was considering buying one. I refuse if you are complicit in this racist takeover of a black municipality. You need to send your corporate representative from the highest level down there to set up amicable relations with these black people who are closely proximate to Memphis and may form a situation where the developing population coming out of Memphis, which is the largest predominantly black population in the country, you need to work with this, because we are going to start a national campaign to boycott Ford products and brand you as racist if you don't do something about this. I bet you will get some attention.
I fully support that. Thank you very much, Judge.
They want to sell these vehicles. This is the way the vehicles will come down to Memphis, get put on barges, taken down to New Orleans, put on ocean-going transports for barges. And these barges will go over into the Mediterranean. And what's going to happen is they're going to go through the Suez Canal, and they will get up to China and Japan, Cambodia, Laos, Indonesia, all of these areas, to India, Bombay. They'll dock there and send the barges up the the various rivers and canals that they have, and they'll unload these doggone Ford vehicles. And it would not do good for Ford, not be well for Ford to have the Chinese attacking the competition that they represent for being racist and discriminating against Black Americans.
Thank
See
you,
where that
Judge.
goes?
Thank you very much, Judge.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Now I can take two more questions and then I have to bail. I've got some stuff I have
Let
to
Nodo
do.
speak. Let Connie speak. Let
Hey
her get the
guys.
next one.
Hey guys, peace, love, and reparations. Judge Joe Brown, thank you for everything that you're telling everyone, but I want to implore everyone to take action. So here's the call to action that I'm posing. Everyone can't be an activist. Everyone's not going to be talking with the city and negotiating and trying to help them get lawyers. Everyone in this room, on Monday, I'm going to um, post a sample tweet. I personally am going to DM over 100 people, maybe 200 or 300. It will have the information for Ford's government affairs department, the community affairs, and maybe a couple of other high profile people at um, Ford. So, what I'm asking you to do on Monday, you guys will start seeing the tweets, get in the DMs, a minimum of 10 people, DM them and ask them to retweet or write an original tweet. We can make this go viral. So that's the challenge and the call to action that I'm asking you guys. So let's get to work. We can do this. We can, we can make this happen and help this town. So thank you. Peace, love, and unity.
I just got to jump in here. Everything that Nordos, Judge Joe Brown, I appreciate you for coming in here and understand that these elders are looking at this situation from 100,000 feet, from 1,000,000 feet. And what they say may not agree with you on a minute level, but he's giving you the whole big picture. They're giving you the whole big picture on how we tackle the situation and how we destroy the situation from the inside out. Yes, we need to take care of the immediate funds, but also we need to destroy this beast. We need to have lawyers on deck, on ready. We need to understand that he's not talking negative. He's just talking real facts. He's talking law. We have an elder here, PhD in this situation that understands how this law works. No matter how much money we raise, if we don't put it in the right situation, it will go for naught.
Yes. Now, I got a bail. I think everybody is bringing up some excellent points. Thanks for the support of the ideas. My ideas are not necessarily going to be the correct ones. I think they are, but that's my current opinion. So, personal opinion. So, investigate, make up your own minds, but those are some suggestions that might prove profitable. So, go for it. This is an opportunity to get back on top and do what was going on 55 years ago in the mid 60s. So go for it. It's adversity and it's an opportunity to conquer it. Look forward to it. So I'm checking out of here. Thanks, everybody. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
No, thank you, sir. The pleasure is all ours.
You have a
Thank you.
good
Thank you
evening,
for your
Joe.
time. Thank you for your
Thank you
time,
very
Joe
much.
Brown. We appreciate it.
Thank
Yes,
you,
sir.
Judge Joe Brown. Appreciate you. Much respect.
Thank you. I'm out of here. Hi, bye.
Good luck.
Got to go. Hi, bye. And got to go. This has been Judge Joe. Catch me when you can, because I'm going to be the one that ran.
Good
Yes,
luck
I'm
in
gone.
2023, sir.
Yes, indeed. He got his life together.
All right. I'm out of
And
here.
you know we got your back. We riding for you.
Yes,
Keep doing
sir.
your thing. The street, the grassroots, we got you.
JJB
Okay.
2023.
For Mayor of Memphis.
That was beautiful, man. That was beautiful. That was, man, I hope
Hey, real quick before the room start getting hot. So Nordos, you say you do law. I just want to know, do you have any would you be willing to take this on, or do you know anybody down there or any lawyers around you that, you know what I'm saying, probably could take this on?
I am so not qualified. This is so over my head. I do contracts, but I did tag a couple of civil, I think about 5 or 6 the other day on Twitter. And then I've been talking on the back channel to KD and some other people. So I don't want to say too much, but there's people writing the summary and the call to action. So hopefully we can, you know, get the documents ready so that we can email and call them and, you know, explain it to them and just see what we can do. And right off the top of my head, I know some of you may groan when I say a couple of these names, but I think I didn't say it. You said it. But Lee Merritt, from what I've seen, would be good for a case like this. Crump, you know, like Judge Joe Brown said, you got to be careful. A lot of these guys are good at settling cases. So the research that Katie and I are on the back channel. So I wanted to actually research attorneys who have handled helping municipalities not go into receivership and bankruptcy and things of that nature. Civil rights are good, but you really need attorneys that specialize in this area of law. So on the back channel, we're just talking about how we're going to vet that out. You know, so I'll start the research this weekend, tomorrow, because when I get off here, I'm going to sleep. But anywho, that's the best I can offer, and it's going to be some of us working on it together. So, you know, if anybody wants to reach out, hit me in the DMs. Oh, and also, what's his name? Gerald Grigsby. Is Gerald Grigsby an attorney? But anyway, and if you guys know of anyone, you know, let us know because it's going to take a team.
I know his hand's raised, but Judge Joe Brown also specified that he had some in mind and that he would be willing to share the information. So if anybody has any direct contact with him, that would be great. I don't have any on this account. I used to.
A direct contact with who?
With Judge Brown, who just spoke. He said he has some attorneys that he has in mind.
I'll call him tomorrow.
All right.
Okay.